Thank you so much, Ron. It was really beautiful in how you covered so many different areas. And I truly would like to say to this audience that I appreciate your applause, because usually when I come to New York at MetLife Stadium, the Jets and Giants fans aren't that kind. And Ron, we've been friends for a very long time, and your passion for Israel and the Jewish people is something that I've always admired. And with your love of Israel, you've been and always will be a great ambassador, and we're lucky to have you. And to receive this Teddy Kollek Award from you this evening is very special. I had the privilege of knowing Teddy. He was an amazing, extraordinary leader. I first experienced Teddy's city of Jerusalem in 1963 on my honeymoon. Jerusalem was still divided at the time, and the city made an emotional and spiritual impression on me because Israel was only 15 years old at the time I first visited, and our people had waited over 2,000 years for that return. 2 years after my honeymoon, Teddy was elected to his first of 7 terms of mayor of Jerusalem. I give Teddy a lot of credit for his leadership in making Jerusalem the beautiful, thriving city that it is today. His first year in office, he created the Jerusalem Foundation, whose mission is focused on developing the social, cultural, and beautification of the city. At the time, I didn't have the financial resources to make a significant impact, but I gave what I could. By the mid-'70s, I was in a much better position to support the foundation. And in the early '80s, my late wife of blessed memory, Mara, and I did our first major project in Jerusalem, funding a park in the center of the city on St. George's Street in memory of her mom. Teddy was in attendance when the park was dedicated. Nearly 2 decades later, when I made a gift that I'm most connected to and where our good ambassador played, the Kraft family football stadium, Teddy was in attendance at that as well. So my Jewish identity and my love of Israel have been 2 of the most powerful and guiding forces in my life. I was born to 2 wonderful parents, as he said, Harry and Sarah Kraft, may they rest in peace. They were loving, caring, doting parents. And while we were not materially wealthy, I couldn't imagine growing up in a richer, more loving household. My parents created a traditional Jewish home for me. We observed the Sabbath, we kept kosher, we went to services every Shabbat and every holiday. My father, Harry, was my hero and the greatest man I have ever known. He taught Torah and Jewish learning to generations of children at a synagogue in Brookline, Massachusetts. My father not only taught me Pirkei Avot, which is a book of Jewish wisdom and ethics, he inspired me to try to live my life by all those principles and the core values of Judaism. I watched him lead his life by these values. He was the happiest, most fulfilled and secure man I have ever known. The 5th commandment teaches us to honor your parents, and I have tried to do that by following in my father's footsteps. When my father passed of blessed memory, he left me an ethical will. He made it clear that a Shem Tov, a good name, was more valuable than any amount of material wealth. In the will, he outlined the many ways one could create and perpetuate a Shem Tov. My favorite of all his teachings, and the one that had the greatest impact on me, was the following. When you go to bed at night, be sure the people you've met that day are richer for having known you. I have tried to live my life with this as a guiding principle. He taught me the importance of random acts of kindness and was pointed out, I try to do things to make people smile and feel good. I think we need more of that in the world we're in today. And I do it at Dunkin' Donuts because I'm not a Starbucks guy. I'm a blue-collar Dunkin' Donuts guy. And for $10, $15, you can't believe the happiness that comes. I even buy the donuts and the croissant. Not too many at Dunkin' Donuts. But when I do it, it makes me happy, and I think of my dad, of blessed memory, and I think how wise he was to try to imbue that in me. And when I reflect on my father's life and teachings, it always brings me back to my childhood. And one of my first and earliest memories was the birth of the State of Israel. I remember the joy and elation my entire family and community experienced when it was created May 14th, 1948. I have felt a lifelong love of Eretz Yisrael and a desire to do whatever I can to make that country thrive after that day. And as I prepared these remarks, I thought back to 1948, and it struck me how something that had brought so much happiness to so many was actually the byproduct of the horrific acts that our ambassador spoke about tonight. And another one of my father's teachings resonated. He saw the good in everybody and everything. And one of his favorite sayings as he helped others deal with difficult times in their life was, Ein ra b'li tov. There's no bad without good. As a boy, I never appreciated the power of this teaching. But as I matured and thought about the world around me, I came to realize that the Holocaust may be the most atrocious act of mankind in human history is truly what led to the creation of the State of Israel. And at the height of the Holocaust, no one could ever have imagined anything positive coming about from an event that was so evil. Yet from it sprang the Jewish homeland, which today, in 70 short years, is a true model of multicultural democracy and a dynamic, innovative, thriving economy. Truly the epitome of Ein ra b'li tov. 70 years after the birth of Israel, Ein ra b'li tov is a saying that I continue to use to help counsel friends dealing both with the challenges of everyday life and even more life-changing tragedies or disappointments, which unfortunately we all face in one way or another. Today, it is especially hard to find the good or the Ein ra b'li tov following the murder of the 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue, which has been mentioned many times here tonight. And for many of us who have been privileged to spend all of our lives in this country, anti-Semitism playing out in this way is something that we thought was a vestige of the Holocaust. Yet some 75 years later, that hatred still found its way on an otherwise peaceful Shabbat morning in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This act has understandably shaken all of us. And I personally have read articles about all the 11 victims to learn more about their stories. Each one was moving and emotional to me, but two were particularly poignant. Brothers David and Cecil Rosenthal. They were the greeters at the Tree of Life Synagogue. They were the warm, friendly faces that all the congregants and visitors saw when they entered. David and Cecil were each mentally challenged adults who were leading productive and meaningful lives. Their funerals were attended by thousands and overflowed into the streets. One mourner remembered them by saying, they were everyone's greeter. They were all good without an ounce of bad. David and Cecil's brother-in-law, Michael Hirsch, said, "When I think about it more, I realize that we were more enriched by them than they were by us." Those words, "we were more enriched by them than they were by us," those are my father's words reappearing to me, helping me to deal with and understand the tragedy beyond comprehension. David and Cecil died in a place they loved, where they enriched the lives of others. There was not a person who walked through those doors whose day was not brightened by seeing those two beautiful souls. And as I reflect on the story of the Rosenthal brothers, I am challenged to use their stories as motivation to find good in the evil, or the Ein Ra, B'li Tov, in this senseless tragedy. The lives of the 11 people who were taken and the pain their loved ones are now feeling cannot be reversed. Hopefully something good can come from such an evil event. Thinking of the Holocaust and the founding of Israel gives me hope by reminding me that even when we cannot comprehend something positive coming from something so horrific, it is possible. In the spirit of David and Cecil Rosenthal, I'm going to further my efforts each day to commit more random acts of kindness, to greet others and try to bring smiles to their faces, just as the Rosenthals did when they greeted the congregants and visitors walking into the Tree of Life synagogue. I'm going to use some of the resources I've been blessed to have in my life to help combat anti-Semitism and all hate crimes. I've been privileged to see the power of sports and the effect it can have in bringing people together from all different backgrounds and to break down barriers. I have also seen how professional athletes and teams can be a platform for raising awareness of issues and causing social change. Roman Abramovich, the owner of Chelsea, one of the best and most famous soccer teams in the world, has used the power of his worldwide brand to help effect change and raise awareness for social injustices, including anti-Semitism. Together, we hope to stage a match in the spring at Gillette Stadium between Chelsea and my soccer team, the New England Revolution. Our goal is to have this match serve as a meaningful platform to raise the awareness of anti-Semitism and to raise significant funds to try to help combat it. Our plan is to have 100% of the ticket sales go to these efforts. And in addition, Roman and I will each commit $1 million incrementally to the cause. These are small actions we can take to help bring good from something evil. Ein Ra B'li Tov, in remembrance of the Rosenthals and the 9 other victims of the senseless tragedy in Pittsburgh. Shem Tov and Ein Ra B'li Tov, 2 very simple yet powerful lessons that were first taught to me by my father over 70 years ago, continue to resonate in a world that has changed so dramatically since he first spoke those words to me. May we all continue to live our lives in the pursuit of Shem Tov and by viewing the world through the lens of Ein Ra B'li Tov. Ron and Joe Carroll, I want to thank you for, and I think Joe Carroll is really the brains here, with all due respect. But I want to thank you for inviting me here and having me here this evening, and it's been a real treat. Thank you.